so many factions, man. Yellow's Kurdish, and then you've got different shades of green for, like, varying states of control. Assad was in this place at some point when Russia bailed him out. I don't think Russia has the resources to save Assad's ass a second time. Not against this. I hope all the teams are having fun, at least. Oh, man. I hope ISIS doesn't turn out to be too much of an issue. In fairness, how many people live here? Like, okay, they say ISIS controls this area. How many people live here? I see a road. We have, what is this, an airstrip? With, like, one neighborhood? Like, okay, sure, they control the area. Fine. Is green fighting yellow? Some of green, there are like so many different shades of green, I can't keep them all apart. I apologize for that. Some of green are made up of the Turkish-backed, the SNA. And the SNA are 99% Hitler. They're backed by Turkey, and Turkey doesn't like Kurds, so they fought against the YPG, who we support. We are pro-YPG. This is a pro-Kurdish, this ain't your, you know, Hakim's YouTube channel or whatever. We don't think Kurds deserve to be gassed. I'm afraid it's bad news for Syrians because Lebanon and Jordan are not going to allow in refugees, it looks like. Well, that makes sense. People generally don't like refugees. Look, I mean, the hope would be that this ends up resolving fast enough that there won't be a need for that many refugees, right? Like, obviously, millions and millions and millions of people have fled Syria because of the civil war. Maybe this is like a hammer blow that comes down fast enough that it kind of like resolves a little bit. I'm not saying there's not going to be a lot of human suffering. I'm just saying there already was a lot of human suffering. Maybe this is kind of like maybe this is the pain of having the dagger removed from your back. HTS and YPG are friends now. Yeah, I'm not worried about HTS. The leader of HTS, our boy, Julani, apparently got interviewed by CNN. They just posted this. I want to watch it. Also, when I say our boy, I'm saying this satirically. I do not actually think that this former Al-Qaeda associate is like a uniformly good person. I am only saying that of the varying like forces present in Syria right now, he is currently the change maker, and it is possible the change that he makes is a positive one for the region because the current state of the region is so bad that even a we'll say lightly morally imperfect individual such as him can you know.
Syrian rebel forces have now taken over Hama. That is the second major city they've captured since launching a surprise offensive last week. Syria's military says its troops had to withdraw from Hama after rebels entered.
Syria is about to become a failed state. Syria has been a failed state for like 9 years, at least large portions of it. Like half the population of Syria fled. Like it's been a tumultuous war zone. 9? Well, the Syrian refugee crisis represented an escalation that led to it being a lot more of a failed state than it was before. It's been 13 years? Okay, 13 years.
Several parts of the city in another blow to President Bashar al-Assad. Now, rebel fighters also freed hundreds of prisoners, saying they were all wrongfully detained. Some residents in Hama are now celebrating the rebel takeover.
Thank God. We've been waiting for this day for a long time, and we're all coming out on the street. This is the happiest day for us. We were afraid to go out at night. We've been waiting for this.
Feelings that can't be described. It's been 50 years we've been suffering injustice and crime and oppression.
Also, not gonna lie, also a huge positive sign for the rebels that these guys feel comfortable doing video interviews, that there are journalists in Hama, like right after it gets captured. Like it's not, oh, it's a constant back and forth tumultuous war zone, like super dangerous. Like you have to be pretty confident in what's going on to do this, especially because if Assad retakes Hama, these guys are getting probably the best case scenario for them would that they're killed quickly. That would be, if the people doing video interviews with CNN saying they're happy they were freed, the best case scenario for them if Assad retakes Hama would be that they're killed quickly.
This is a historic moment, a priceless moment.
Priceless moment. Now rebels are vowing to push further south to Homs.
And this isn't even accurate anymore because now rebels down here at the south near Damascus are pushing up. Holy shit. They could retake Damascus within a week. Like, maybe that's really optimistic, and it is. But at the speed they're moving, I mean, it could, like, Damascus might just collapse.
That is the next major city on the road to the capital, Damascus. CNN's Jemana Karatse sat down for an exclusive interview with the main rebel leader, Abu Muhammad al-Jolani. He says the Assad regime is, in his words, dead, and explains how his forces have been able to sweep through Syria.
What even sparked all the sudden change?
Taking Hama.
This guy. Not to, like, you know, fold it all down into one. I think the Kurds have been instrumental in maintaining a stronghold against the Assadish regime for years now, in tandem with American, with American military support. But this guy did take Aleppo, which is pretty big. It's mostly this guy being like the one in the position to take advantage of the weakening of Hezbollah, because Hezbollah has been weakened from their fighting with Israel. Like, obviously, Hezbollah has been very committed to the fighting in the south, which depletes the resources and pulls things away from Assad, like Assadist support, because both Assad and Hezbollah are very Russian aligned, very Iran aligned, so they have like a shared interest. The weakness of Hezbollah is the weakness of Assad. This guy's taking advantage of that.
After taking Aleppo, I mean, how significant is this for you right now?
From a military perspective, what comes after Hama will not be the same as what came before. However, I prefer not to be overly optimistic during the battle. I like to remain cautious and vigilant to avoid complacency and ensure we don't suffer losses while believing we are safe.
What comes after this? What's after Hama?
The thing that makes me feel good about this guy, like relatively speaking, is that from everything I've heard from him, like when he speaks or the way he talks, he doesn't seem to engage in a lot of demagoguery. It's really easy when you're like a charismatic, like handsome young military rebel leader to like play into that and be a big, you know, like to really lead, like do the whole Che Guevara bit, basically. The fact that he seems relatively grounded, you know, he's willing to talk to interviews. He comes across a lot more, what's the right word? Not like humble. That's not what I'm thinking of here. Not like Western, because that's not what I'm thinking of either. Demagoguery happens all the time in Western military officials, at least like in times of conflict. Is it measured, I guess? Yeah. I'll put it this way, okay? The worst case scenario would be that this guy falls back into jihadist tendencies, because those are kind of his origins, you know? Like, he used to work basically with Al-Qaeda, so the worst case scenario would him leaning more and more into the, like, the guise of it, like the image of it would be like anti-colonialism, anti-Western, so on and so forth, which I'm in favor of anti-colonialism, but often that rhetoric is disingenuously applied when in reality you're just like super duper fundamentalist Islam. Like Iran does this all the time. Like Iran pretends to be principally anti-colonial when they're not at all. Iran has no issue with Russia's colonial efforts in the Middle East, for example. They just, you know, take advantage of what they have at their disposal to benefit themselves. So I'm glad he's not falling into that. The real question is whether he's just media trained or if he's legit. Well, you can be legit and media trained. He is definitely media trained. He's trying to legitimize himself in the eyes of the West because he is considered a terrorist. The HTS, it's a terrorist organization. So he is probably hoping to get that designation removed, because if it's not removed, he doesn't have a very good shot at managing Syria if Assad loses. Like, it will be much harder to run Syria with a legitimate government if the ruling party is considered, like a terrorist organization. He said he plans to have local people's council style of governance, like bottom up. That's how the Rojavans like to do things. I really hope they're not left out of the conversation.
The course of the battle, as for the secrets of the battle, let's leave them to the unfolding events.